If you're buying an Xbox, don't get scammed. Is Xbox buying Netflix? You have got to check out this insane Xbox build. Just a reminder, if you take a look down at the description below, I have links for all sorts of Xbox gear. I've been talking a lot about the ultimate wired Xbox controller by 8BitDo. That's down there as well. You can buy it through Best Buy. If you want to get in on this new generation of Xbox cloud gaming, I also have some links for some Samsung TVs that support the Xbox Game Pass app that they're coming out with. A couple of days ago, Windows Central put out an article based around a statement from Netflix saying that they were going to be adding a cheaper ad-based option to their current lineup. As we know, Netflix does not do ads, but it's typically more expensive than other streaming services. Now, in order to do this, they've teamed up with Microsoft to basically handle all of their ads, ad technology, anything related to that department. Windows Central then followed that up with another article, this time centered around a senior analyst from Yahoo, who basically said this move, Netflix teaming up with Microsoft to do this, could mean something a little more, like Netflix is buddying up with Microsoft in the hopes that they'll buy them once the Activision-Blizzard deal is closed. Now, Xbox buying Netflix, that's crazy. But I also said that when they announced that they were buying Activision-Blizzard, and I also said that when they bought ZeniMax Media. I was like, whoa, that's crazy. So, you know, crazy just seems to be the norm nowadays. The more you think about it though, the more it makes sense. Microsoft, they were somehow able to bundle in Netflix to your Game Pass subscription. That would be a huge win for Game Pass subscribers. Me, I welcome that. I'd be like, yes, give me less subscription services for me to keep track of. It would also be great for Microsoft because then they would have the opportunity to expose all of the millions and millions and millions of Netflix subscribers around the world to Xbox Game Pass and the Xbox ecosystem. That could be huge as they start to go more heavy with this cloud gaming, cloud streaming game technology. Maybe they can also learn or utilize some of the servers that Netflix has built up. I read an article the other day that detailed how Netflix spent $1 billion over a course of 10 years to build their own servers so that they never crash. Obviously, that was a huge problem back in the Game of Thrones days. When a Game of Thrones episode dropped, especially if it was like the first season premiere, everyone on HBO Go, HBO Max, whatever they were trying to watch it on, it would crash sometimes and it wouldn't hold up. There were dark days, man. If you weren't there, you wouldn't understand. Maybe they can learn a thing or two from those servers so that they can transfer that knowledge over to their cloud gaming servers and provide a more stable experience across the board. Also, as it stands right now, for every good show or movie that Netflix puts out, they put out like 10 or 15 bad or trash ones. I think their quest to constantly get subscribers and please their investors has led them to this insane policy where they'll just greenlight every little thing under the sun that comes across their desk.
Wait a minute, did you say anything? Anything!
Maybe if they had the backing of a big company like Microsoft, they could chill out a little bit. They can stop greenlighting all of these crazy projects, focus on just a few quality ones, kind of like Amazon Prime Video. Or even like the early days of Netflix, like back in those days, if you saw a Netflix original, you were like, yo, this must be good. Nowadays, it's like a 1 in 10 chance, I swear. It would also be sick if we started seeing more shows and movies based off of our favorite Xbox properties. I would literally backflip out of joy if they made an animated series based off Psychonauts. Either way, as much as people want to speculate, as much as people want to dream, nothing is going to happen until Microsoft closes this deal with Activision-Blizzard. But this just shows how gung-ho Microsoft is about these acquisitions. So they buy these studios, these publishers, to beef up their first-party titles. They buy something like Netflix to boost Game Pass's value. If Xbox really does go ahead and try to buy Netflix, I'm sure there are other candidates. It'll show that we've kind of come full circle to the Xbox One generation. If you remember back when that launched, Xbox was like, no, we don't want to be just a gaming console. We want to be like an entertainment center. You know, you have your Xbox One and it's connected to your cable. You can watch TV, you can play games, all of your entertainment based in this one little box. And we were like, boo, stop that. Go back to the games. And now we're like, Xbox buying Netflix? Maybe not such a bad idea. That'd be pretty cool. Today is a super exciting day because As Dusk Falls is releasing for Xbox, PC, and it's coming to Game Pass. Today's like Tuesday. I think this video is going up Friday, so it will definitely be available by the time you're watching this video. And when I first saw this game, I wasn't quite sure what was going on, what this game was all about. But me and my buddy Jimmy were actually lucky enough to attend the launch party for this game the other day, and I'm super excited to jump in. I feel like this is going to surprise a lot of people. The early reviews are in, and they're looking pretty good. I'm talking scores of like 7-ish and above out of 10. The story of this game follows a family as they're traveling across country and they get stuck in Two Rock, Arizona. And then it follows their story, all the people that they interact with, the story starts to intertwine. It branches off into all of these interesting paths based on the choices you make and your reaction to certain QuickTime events. You'll notice the art style is not fully animated, which at first I was like, I don't know how this is gonna work out. But once they started really getting into the flow of the game, I was like, okay, I'm digging this. It's really fascinating how they did it, the process too. It's a mix of mocap actors, green screen, and literally like hand-painted backgrounds for the scenery. They also have a separate cast for like the mocap cast, and then they have a voiceover cast. Both of them were fantastic. I thought they did a really good job. Me and Jimmy actually got to talk to the CEO and creative director of the studio behind As Dusk Falls. It's called Interior Night. And I gotta say, she was super cool, super chill. We learned all about her experience working on the game. That included the ups and downs. Apparently this game in development was canned like multiple times and her stubbornness basically willed it into existence. She also mentioned that Xbox was great to work with and that they were all in on her vision from the very start. I was surprised that this game had a co-op element to it. So the way the event was set up was that Kinda Funny Games, they had the crew on stage and they were playing through the game, and in the audience you were actually able to also vote on the choices in the game via Twitch. It was like a broadcast system. So I was like, that's cool. I didn't know you can literally sit amongst other people physically. I know, couch co-op. It's a crazy thing nowadays. So I'm definitely gonna gather a group of friends, my wife, and we're gonna make a whole night of it. The one thing I will say is that sometimes the time to choose your little story choices seemed a little too long. I don't know if that was a mechanic to accommodate the live audience element to it, but there were some choices where I was like, okay, you don't need a full 30 seconds to decide whether or not you're gonna pet this dog or pick up this soda can. It should be like 5-10 seconds max. And it was also obvious at sometimes what choice was going to be made. Like there was like 60 people who voted to like get in the car, and there was like 5 people who voted to like tie their shoe or whatever. But the timer was still running. We were waiting for the timer to expire, even though we knew what was going to happen. And there were some times when there was like only one choice. Like you had 4 choices at the beginning, and then you have 3, and then you have 2, and then you have 1. You should just like automatically, like that's the only choice left, go into that choice. I don't know if there's like a button where you can skip that or like speed that along, but I think that would be very helpful. It could be that like you're meant to debate each choice with the people that you're playing. I don't know if that's a factor as well. Either way, I'm super excited to jump into this game, mostly because it ended on a cliffhanger. Thanks again to Xbox for a great night. Like I said, can't wait to jump into this. Next up, let's talk about Game Pass. I know, typical Xbox already, he's always running his mouth about freaking Game Pass, but we now know the second batch of games coming to the service this month. One of those we just talked about, that's As Dusk Falls. We don't have to talk about that anymore, but we're also getting some other really cool titles. One of those is Inside. Now this game is a super creepy, it's really awesome platformer puzzle kind of experience. It's made by the same guys who did Limbo, and when this game came out, Inside, all the reviewers are basically saying like it's like Limbo, but it's like even better than Limbo was. And Limbo was a great game. I really enjoyed Inside, I really enjoyed Limbo. If you are a big fan of games like Little Nightmares, I highly recommend that you try this one out too. We're also getting MotoGP 22. Now me personally, I'm not too interested in this game. It's a motorcycle racing sim, but for people who are hungry for that kind of experience, this might be for you. As great of a racing game as the Forza franchise is, they don't have bikes in them, and I don't think they have any plans on bringing them anytime soon. So people who are hungry for that kind of experience, they have to look elsewhere. Watch Dogs 2 is also coming to Game Pass this month, and again, it's always nice to see that Game Pass has a good relationship with Ubisoft. Earlier this month, we got Far Cry 5, so people who are really big fans of open world action experiences, you got a lot to do this month. If you're looking for a new Xbox, Facebook Marketplace, strangely enough, might be the answer. But there are some caveats. Callum Baines over at Tech Radar recently put out an article detailing how he got an Xbox Series S for like over half off. I'm talking like 140 pounds. Now the Series S is pretty cheap as it is. That's its whole purpose, right? And I've seen it drop as low as like $250 when it comes to certain sales. Over half off, that is like a bargain bin price. There are a few things that you need to be aware of though before you look at this article and you're like, oh my god, I'm gonna go try to buy a Series S or a Series X on Facebook Marketplace myself. myself. The obvious one is that Facebook Marketplace is not as well regulated as some of the bigger resale sites like eBay. So you have to watch out for scammers. I implore you, do not get scammed. Some quick tips. I would highly recommend that you only buy from people that you can actually physically meet up with. Now that carries its own sort of risks as well. I'm not encouraging my viewers to go out and just like mingle with strange people that they meet on the internet. So be smart about it, okay? Bring along a friend, bring along a girlfriend, your brother, your mom. That's who I usually bring along. Bam! There's probably gonna be a ton of options where people wanna ship something to you. Me personally would not do. Facebook Marketplace, they do have buyer protection, but historically I have really bad luck with that stuff. You obviously run the risk of paying this person and then they either don't ship it to you or they ship you something that's totally busted or they ship you like a bag of dirt or something random like that. This article from Tech Radar actually brings up a good point and mentions that there is a possibility that these secondhand Xboxes could be hardware banned. Now Xbox, they will ban certain accounts if you're acting too crazy, like in game lobbies or something like that. But in very rare instances, they will also slap like a ban or blacklist whole entire freaking consoles. I've read about this happening to a few people who have tried to run emulators on their Xbox without buying the dev mode stuff. Have them prove that it turns on, that everything works as advertised. Test out the controllers, and I'm talking like button mash every single freaking button until you are satisfied. Last time I did this was for a Switch copy of Diablo 3. I know, super random, but the digital price was super whack. I'm like, I'm not paying $60 freaking for a game that I was playing back in 2012. And then all physical use copies, there was none available at any store, GameStop, Best Buy, whatever, in a 100-mile radius. I was like, I'm not paying full price for this freaking game. I was on a mission. And I actually found someone on OfferUp not too far away from me who was selling it. So I followed the plan. I got my buddy Kenny. We loaded up in a car, went to go meet this guy. I brought my Nintendo Switch and I was like, yo, give me that game. I put it into my Switch. I made sure it worked and I was like, we're done here. Everyone's region is gonna be different when it comes to Facebook Marketplace, but I was curious what was going on in my specific region, and look what I freaking found. An Xbox Series S being sold for $225 with two controllers. Two controllers, I mean, that's like what, like 120 bucks if I was gonna buy that separately. Pretty good deal. I also saw a similar deal that was just shipping only. I was like, I don't know about that. Next up, we have an Xbox build that absolutely blows my freaking mind. Now, for those of you who've been watching the channel for a while, been keeping up with me, you'll probably pick up on this theme that I'm easily impressed when a special edition Xbox console comes out, like the unboxing I did of the Stranger Things Series S. I was like, whoa, this is crazy, even though it was just a skin over the Xbox. And then I saw the Elder Scrolls Online Series S and I was like, whoa, this is crazy. And then I saw the Shredder's Revenge Series S and I was like, oh my god, this is freaking crazy. This one takes the cake, guys. I am serious. This build comes from the mind of Martina over at NerdForge. And I gotta say, she started off this video, I have some disagreements with her. She was basically saying like, I wanna pimp out this Xbox Series X because I think it looks like crap. I think it looks like boring as hell. I don't know what they were thinking in the design meeting. I was like, oh, I think it looks kind of cool. But you know, I'm kind of a fan of like the low-key appearance of the console versus like my crazy looking PS5. But I gotta say, her take on this Xbox is absolutely 100%, 1000% an improvement over the original. It's like this steampunk power plant, like dystopian. I don't even know how to even describe it. But what's fascinating about it is that she did all of this using trash. Literally using like styrofoam, old takeout containers, old like fruit plastic containers. I was seriously blown away by the ingenuity. I've never been good at crafts or making stuff physically with my hands. And she even found a way to incorporate lights into the design that light up whenever the fan of the Xbox Series X starts going. I'm not sure how all of this regalia, as you would maybe say, affects the performance of the Xbox Series X. Me and Jimmy were just talking about like consoles potentially overheating, your Xbox overheating, what to do in that scenario, how you can clean it out. She showed off her playing Elden Ring on the console, so I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure like it gets a pass pretty much because it looks so damn cool. To anyone who is like maybe thinking of trying to copy this situation, I will say it took NerdForge, who are like experts in their field, 3 freaking weeks straight working on this thing to make it happen. So you're warned.